G'day everyone, Prep Aussie here. I hope you're all well in whatever part of the world you're watching this video. Today is Monday the 25th of February 2018 and the time here is 0920 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Folks, plenty, and I mean plenty, of feedback on as regards to the financial video that I did on the weekend. Now, I want to read a comment from a mate of mine actually, and I want to go through it because I think it's important. So let's do that. Before I do that, let's get the sponsorship out of the way. These guys are my sponsor, totally awesome, and I'm happy to promote their product because it is sensational. Golden activated turmeric paste. If you want to get hold of these guys, or you want to go and see them, Jam Powers Farmers Markets in Queen Street in Brisbane, Wednesday 8 AM to 6 PM. That's a long day. Palm Beach at PBC School at the Farmers Markets there on Saturday 6 AM to 12, and the Bundall Farmers Market at the Arts Centre in Bundall 6 AM to 12. Guys, like I said, this stuff does work. If you're not taking it, you should be, and there is no better product. I've tried them all. This is the best one. And I mean that in all seriousness. Okay. Excuse me. Right, I said to you guys that I was going to read you a comment. I'm going to do that. Now, the underlying thread from the video the other day was that people are kind of confused about debt and how we get out of debt and debt jubilee, etc. Which is fine, because it's a lot to get your head around, okay? I'm going to... a mate of mine, Pete, has sent me a comment asking, well, I'll read to you in a second, but basically saying, well, if there is no debt, how does it all, you know, why is there any financial system, basically? So I'm going to read the comment and then we're going to go through it, but I'm also going to show you some trading economics stuff as well. Just to help you guys all get your head around what's coming, because it is coming. There's no two ways about it. In regards to debt jubilee, some people have said I'm dreaming if I think there's going to be a debt jubilee. Well, tell me how we get out of this thing. Even for those people who don't believe in a debt jubilee, even if there is a reset and they don't call it a debt jubilee, then 90% of all debt will get wiped out, maybe even 100%. So I would think behind the doors at the moment, closed doors, they're all discussing who's going to win and who's going to lose. You can guarantee it. You know, how does this all pan out? Because I'm going to prove to you now, mathematically, that there is no way out of this. There's no way out of it. There's nothing anybody can do. And the debt is just going to evaporate. Oh, it'll explode before it evaporates. It has to. It can't. There's no other way it can go. So what happens if your debt gets so big you just can't, you know, you end up like Venezuela. Their debt is now so big, so much large, that there's just physically no way you can physically repay your debt. Well, obviously the only way for the debt to go is up, and then it just explodes, and then it goes back to zero. The country has to restart. Somewhere along the line, you have to have a restart. You can't. It's not physically possible not to do that. Before I go to the comments, let's just talk about that. Which countries in the world have gone to 0% on interest rates and then gone back up and survived? The answer is none. There is no country, fiat currency, that has ever done it. It can't work. It doesn't work. The reason is because once you go to zero, people literally binge feed themselves on debt, because everything's so cheap, basically. But then what happens if the interest rates start to go up? Well, then obviously, if people have been, you know, sticking their nose in the trough, so to speak, on the cheap free debt, then the moment it all starts going up, then you've got a huge problem, literally. 25% may be the difference between surviving and not surviving. 0.25%. So don't kid yourself that there's just homeowners that are going to get taken out by this. You're talking global. And that's the other thing. So I'll turn the fan on. You need to stop thinking Australia, right? Because when this does kick in and when this does go, it will be global. Just don't think because we're down here in Australia that we're sweet. Well, the RBA, as I said, is now talking about dropping our interest rates down so we can actually binge feed more on debt. Do you not understand that? They actually have to get you to keep, the debt has to keep getting bigger for everything to keep moving. But as I said, as it gets to the stage where the debt is so big it can't maneuver anymore, it just explodes. And I'm an economic hack, and I understand that. So just because we're here in Australia, don't think that we're going to get away with this. We're not. So let's go to Pete's comment, and I'll read it, and you guys can disseminate it yourself, so to speak. This is it here, Nemesis Agenda. G'day, mate. Forgive my possible ignorance, but what you are saying is that paper money, digital currency, gold, and other precious metals and commodities are totally worthless in time to come. Yes. For a short while. They will come back. But are you going to be interested in, I don't know, a gold coin? If you're hungry, you've got a gold coin and a loaf of bread. Which one are you going to go for? Or you've got digital currency and a loaf of bread. Or you've got money and a loaf of bread. You know what people in Weimar, Germany used to use cash for? Fires. To keep warm. That's a fact. So that's what happens when the debt gets so big. Fiat money becomes useless. They can't print enough, and they can't put enough decimal points behind it to make it viable. So I hope you understand that. Okay, let me put my glasses on. And that we all owe a massive debt that cannot be paid. That is correct. There is no currency of any manner that is worth a speck of fly shit to anyone. That is true. Although it all depends on who you are and what you place value on, either a piece of gold, silver, a loaf of bread, whatever. So what's the bloody point of finance and currency on any level if nothing is worth jack shit? Good point. So what is the point of finance? Well, I would probably say that we're going to find out soon. At the moment, there is no point to it because it doesn't work. It's broken. It's severely broken, and it's going to get worse. It's broken to the point of being unrecoverable. The people that have money, by the way, are hoarding gold and silver because they think they're going to get out of this. Well, like I said, for a while, gold, silver, anything was going to be fucking useless to you because you can't eat gold and silver. But having said that, you're an idiot if you haven't got some. And I mean like a couple of ounces here or there. You don't have to go buying huge gold bars, or if you can, good luck to you. But how are you going to break it down? That's what I've always said before. Okay, let's go back to it. Glasses on. How do folks pay a joint dumped on conglomerate bullshit debt if everything is worth nothing? I'm not really sure what that meant, but you have to keep paying your debt. There's no way out of that, unfortunately. You know me, serious question, bro. And if they do a debt jubilee, what's the point? If there is nothing of any value to use as trade or commodity, what's the freaking point of anything of the financial bullshit? Well, that's a good point, Pete, but okay. If you have debt, right, it keeps a machine going. Okay? I'd probably agree with you. What's the point in financial? Because when this all does happen, all of us, and I mean all of us, are going to turn around excuse me, and say, hang on a minute, why am I paying interest rates? Why am I paying so much for this shit? Why am I paying? So you see where the mindset's going to go. And in the future, you probably see financial people strung up from street post, because people are going to click, bang, and go, hang on a minute, that financial advisor bloke, he was the one who advised me all this shit. What's going to happen, and what needs to happen, is we need to get back to a more ground-based economic model that's not binge fed on debt, basically. Okay. For those with home or property to grow food and other vital stuff for human survival are likely to lose it due to debt recovery. What's the frigging point of finance outright? Now, I'm going to say something about that. Okay. Do not stop making veggie gardens, etc. Okay? Now, I've said this before. If you're in a home and you have a mortgage, like me and like everybody else, I guess, if you're unlucky enough not to have paid off your mortgage, and this crash does happen, okay, there's going to be people that are going to want to take that debt. Just imagine every house in your street being foreclosed. But who's going to buy it? Because the whole system is broken down. That's why there has to be a debt jubilee. And we're not doing it for ourselves. We're doing it for our future generations, guys. If they don't call it debt jubilee, right, the thing that Peter's mentioned just there will come to pass. So basically everything's going to go bang. It's going to be wiped out in one go. And then all the vultures, those people, those financial people that we all hate, they're going to be standing on the other side going, I want my debt back. So if Trump doesn't do a reset and a debt jubilee, he can do a reset, everything will be wiped out. But if he does a debt jubilee, the day after we start at zero. If he does a reset, we start at 100 million. Do you understand that? Because automatically everything's just going to go poof. But if he turns around and he says, well, sorry folks, but as of tomorrow, all debt is wiped out, free. And by the way, after that, we're using USA dollar number 1 or 2 as reserve currency. Do you understand that? The vultures will come for your stuff. But I've already shown you that the US is $42 trillion in debt. The Australian economy is $1 trillion in debt. Was it a trillion? Yeah, something like that. And we can't repay that. Now, add that to every single country in the world, and you understand that we are in the world's biggest casino. And the only thing that's keeping it going is force feeding of debt. So even your mortgage is keeping that system going. So don't just get out of your house, you stay there. And you keep staying there until such times as either you have to leave or the debt jubilee has been called. The interesting thing about all this is after a debt jubilee will be called, what happens, how do we take control of what Pete said, the financial situation? Because we can't just turn around and go, well, wow, that model that we had just back there, that works so well, let's take it forward to the next, which is what the debt people, the creditors, the debtors will want to do. Hence the reason why you have to have a debt jubilee, because you can't carry that model forward because it didn't work. It busted and broke. So what are you going to take your kids, what are you going to take to the future for your kids? Because it's not about you and me. This is about the future. You have to realize that. This is not about now. It's about the future. What are you going to take for your kids to the future? What financial system are you going to give them? Okay. Now I'm going to show you trading economics, and I'll go through it as I'm speaking. I want to draw your attention to this page here, the debt to GDP, right? Now, anything over 50 is starting to be bad. Anything above 70 means that your country is going down the shit chute. Now look at these countries here, folks. This one here for China at 47 is a load of bullshit, because we all know that China is massively in debt. They don't tell you what it is, so you know they're fudging the figures there. So you could virtually say that China's would be pretty well same as the US, probably more. The US, the bastion of the world economy, is 105.4. Euro area, 86.7. China, that's a lie. Japan, another bastion of the economic world, 253%. Look, all you have to do is go through that list and see that countries are in the shit chute. We're at 41.9 here in Australia, and I would probably say that that's we're broke. Because don't forget, we are a commodity-based country. We sell shit to everyone. So that debt level will literally fucking explode the DDP debt overnight, when all the other countries go, we don't want your shit anymore. Our level should be at like 15, 20 max. Because after that we physically can't pay back our debt. Regardless of if it's 50 or, you know, it should be over 50. We're only 23 million people in this country, or 24 or whatever the fuck it is. It's not many. So we can't physically pay that debt back. It should always be at about 15 to 20. That's it, max. So when these other countries do go, oh, well, you know, we ain't building boats, we ain't doing this shit anymore, we don't want your iron ore, we don't want any of your veggies, we don't want anything. That debt will literally double overnight. And we are, as they say, up shit creek without a paddle. So I hope that clarifies that. Just go through Trading Economics page. Show people. Say, there it is in black and white. Japan, 253%. Now don't forget, those numbers are fudge. So you can bet your ass to the nearest dollar that it's a lot more than that on every single one of those. So the financial model does not work. It's broken. It's busted. It's cracked. It's a car that's driving on 3 wheels, folks. And one of the wheels is square. So Pete's questioning is very relevant, but you need to understand the model. the model is not going to work. There is no point, and I'll be honest, there is no point to financial at the moment, because all the financial is doing is paying debt, gorging itself on debt, more and more debt. That's why it's broken. And if you think there's not going to be a debt jubilee, regardless of whether we do a reset, it's going to have to happen. Because the day that the hyperinflation goes to like stratospheric levels, which it's going to, then there's no way out of it except to just say to everyone, tomorrow we start at zip. I hope all that makes sense. Okay, and as always, we'll finish with the prayers, folks. Verse of the day. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Good verse. And as always, folks, we'll finish with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Important bit. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Right, folks, I've said enough. I'll speak to you later. Prep out.